Welcome everyone for this amazing update. I was already talking 2 minutes with myself because the amazing YouTube live stream beta stuff didn't go online. Can't make this up. Can't click go live and reload the page often enough. I always wonder when very few people, like nearly nobody, are watching. Then we're not live. Yeah, fun stuff in modern web times. In the meantime, I quickly just tweaked this T2 config. Doesn't really matter much, but yeah, I think so. This is the very first time. Previously, as per the previous live stream, I prepared here already a month ago because state of the art and bleeding edge, and then Forerunning still beat us to that. But whatever, let's see what happens here. So I just, for the first time ever, had the release candidate of Clang, because only that had. By the way, what exactly was this for the best education? Let's check this. Do I still have this open? This was like computed, either computed go-to, or was it mainline finally built? What's it mentioned here? Running sampling benchmark, Intel hardware, taking use, ASM go-to here, finally supporting ASM go-to, which is also hilarious that all this kind of esoteric features that the Linux kernel needs to actually compile. Yeah, so far so good. So previously in my LLVM Clang only build, I actually had this patched from the Bugzilla also of LLVM Clang. So our T2 package had this patches for ASM assembly ASM goto, but it didn't work. So it built Clang and LLVM build, and the Linux kernel progressed a little bit further, but somehow maybe the support wasn't complete enough because it then errored out with syntax error. Didn't like it whatsoever. As per the previous live stream, of course we don't get here added performance benefits, but I never intended for this. I was always clear that this simple conditional stuff, if then else, set some registers and stuff, will not improve the performance. The only way where we could find improved performance, which in general LLVM Clang doesn't really give me improved performance, but whatever, at least it's plus minus 0 around. Unless we build with Musel only, then the performance is significantly worse, most likely for the C++ STL in the C++ compiler part. While we wait for the kernel, so actually so far so good. I'm already happy that builds more than previously. Actually, test booting, as we could, to test boot this, I would need to copy this on my data center though, because this is also building on our compute node anyway. This is not building on the ThinkPad. This is certainly AMD Ryzen there last year, my regular one. Welcome, Devi. So yeah, finally Clang Clang. Also per the previous live stream, I finally figured out why Clang didn't work for me previously with this duplicate option stuff. That was apparently due to some shared library options, which certainly is hilarious. Not only is it in regression, because previously it worked, and in my opinion, you would want the shared libraries that your LLVM Clang compiler infrastructure does not have the static code linked in, and your 3D Mesa stick as well. But whatever, yeah, so probably, actually, I'm not really sure if LLVM Bugzilla, I wonder if I have saved the password. We could actually live update this bug here. Yeah, due to spam, login, it says login. Let's see, hey, login. Maybe I have the password safety, amazing stuff. Maybe we are logged in here. Let's see. Does it have here like a nice list? Yeah, unfortunately not. This I had the last time already. I wonder why here is not like my own reports easily, but whatever. Was it duplicate option? So now I have a hard time to find my own bug probably. Whatever. Unlike. Anyway, I wanted to point you some other recurring thing out. Stuff that I'm unfortunately not the most impressed. The latest Linux kernel release from the day before yesterday, 5.2.14, and unfortunately the recurring theme here that I really have to criticize, the stable release process, like, yeah, reverted, right? And at least 3 or so. I said this before, that in my opinion this is a little bit hilarious, that you see, I pointed this out before, the .13 was some emergency release with some input stuff reverted. It's hilarious. And even in the latest one, so reverted MMC due to MMC core not retry command 6. Command 6 is a 6-byte length in length SCSI command. Probably also like there's probably 6-byte read and send and stuff. So turns out commit 3A06 and so on, core do not retry in MMC switch, breaks initialization of a Toshiba something eMMC card and using the, they commit a fix that doesn't fix something, causes regressions, and they revert. And this is what I say in the stable series, maybe significantly less patches, like only like major security stuff, and other security and crashing panic bugs of this monolithic kernel where one address space everything can clobber each other's memory. Amazing stuff. So that is reverted, and so the fix is, by the way, some delay. So after some analysis, it turns out that adding a delay of 5 milliseconds, and those people who always say software sucks, right? Our recurring theme, I think it was recently, like, here is a software that always been an issue, and our software is lagging behind the hardware here. If we spend, like myself, 3 hours poking on texture memory registers and all of them are not behaving like documented in the specification here, software is behind. Well, I agree a little bit of some sort, especially in the open source world. We should probably significantly modernize our stuff, which is of course said I'm a little bit against randomly changing everything recurringly. And welcome to India, by the way. Welcome here to the audience. And only 1800 here in Central Europe. As much as I'm against random changes like XORG server and stuff, in my opinion, this were the wrong random changes, right? XORG server, always APIs, some parameter removed here, and of old-fashioned C functions, even functions removed. It's, in my opinion, so much broken stuff for not much value gained, like zero value gained. But yeah, I really wish we would have left the XORG server alone, and even the Linux kernel not in each major release shuffle all the APIs around, and instead of concentrate on some more major innovations. But yeah, that is just some professional IT perspective here. So we also have a couple of more reverts, of course. x86 APIC includes the LDR when clearing out the APIC registers. This reverts commit 5582 868 2B and so on. Chris Wilson reports that this breaks his CPU hot plug test script, and say, yeah, this broke some test script. Maybe you run the test scripts before putting it in a stable series. Seriously. Anyway, if I so wish I would have significantly, somehow maybe I need to significantly, so either I consider this YouTube experiment failed, although thank you everyone for subscribing, 3,500 and so subscribers, amazing stuff. Just wish it would grow slightly faster. Also yesterday I make a 3-hour boring hacking live stream and people unsubscribe immediately. But it's one thing is clear: before we reach 500,000 subscribers, I probably can't finance a high microkernel development like this. But I so wish I would have like so much more time to do this, like with a test suite, like make test even your microkernel stuff. I somehow, yeah, half of the stuff probably wouldn't occur if they would have an integrated test suite. You could even have this, it's also, they have a little bit testing in the Intel driver, but they don't even in the XORG stuff have a test suite, like make check for some driver. Even today with my boring, or maybe exciting, I don't know, I find it exciting, low-level code for the Verge and Voodoo and Silicon Motion, it's so sad that I couldn't yet get the texture stuff on the Silicon Motion. It's like 90% of the stuff explored, like mostly working, the major part. Well, in the grand scheme of things, maybe not 90%. If you consider DMA and AGP system memory textures, but that certainly it's a little bit underdocumented there, but from the theoretically we could do the major things for 3D graphic on the Silicon Motion, but yeah, texture registers do some just the size, it's hilarious. But because then you could do this in a test suite, right? You have seen my examples, run some blitting and nothing stops you from have some generic tests like fill Z, blit Z, 3D texture Z, and then to the frame buffer and screenshot it and compare it with your test data for all the drivers. Would be amazing. Would so love to do that somehow. Anyway, yeah, include, so this here test suite, you can't make this up. It's probably still that. And here another R18152 and NAPI hang fix after disconnect, a little bit similar to my network fails. Welcome to Graver. I had this, so not only the TG3, so thankfully we are not streaming with TG3, that means we have 0 drop frames. And even though this is going to the office back and forth here through Europe, and but even this Intel, I had on this Intel wireless some hiccup in Russia, right? If you remember, recurring audience here, when I was in Russia a month ago, the same Wi-Fi here in this Intel wireless, whatever, had sometimes breakdown with the Wi-Fi there in Russia, whatever hiccup, amazing stuff. Let's see, comment to the audience. Well, Wayland also works fine. Well, not for me, but this is the thing, if you package the source yourself, for me it didn't start with some XML, XDG runtime stuff, not found, whatever. I also hear from people on Phoronix recurrently that it's not yet amazing, but happy that it works for you, plus Xorg is getting a little bit old. Yeah, and somehow they broke too much in my opinion and removed most of the 3D drivers, many of those removed that previously existed. But yeah, yes, it is like OpenGL2 or whatever, 1.4 from a decade ago, but would still be cool to have for vintage retro gaming. You can run Windows 95 and DOS on those, but not Mesa Webby. And I'm feeling a little bit sorry of those people who have written the first 3D drivers, like myself, spent so much of their lifetime, certainly sitting months there. So maybe at the university with some assistant professor or whatever there back in 1998, and just to have the driver bit rotten and removed. Yeah, although maybe if I would have written the driver, although my stuff also a little bit hard to keep running, that is why I turned to YouTube to have at least some means, well, not yet rich here with it, but at least a little bit of cashback here for keeping all the SG Octane P3 and stuff in working order and hacking on some new things. But if I would have written the driver for the Voodoo or Verge, I would maybe kept updating this just as a fun hobby project. Although I understand that there was new and fast stuff and then people just didn't care anymore because it was old piece of garbage. But yeah. So yeah, funny comments in the audience. The Graver, Greg, Linus, the kernel compiled. Yes, it compiled. Did you run the test suite yet? Yeah, which test suite? Yeah, Linux, great. Let's release. Yeah, also, I mean, Linus is usually one of those who is the most pissed about bugs. But again, I'm actually, while we are waiting, yeah, so you see amazing stuff. Also, we probably may hinder performance a little bit because this is, I should maybe have logged in there with compression because it's going through Europe here right now. Secure shell, maybe I should have compressed it. I'm actually, once I read on some news site, I'm actually not sure, Linux stable release pig patches AI or something. I read somewhere that I'm really wondering if this was a joke or if that is true, that the patches, as you see, are so many, which is also ridiculous, right? And this is also my microkernel theme here, right? If you would have the network drivers and the storage drivers and you could release them independently, right? With more fine-grained stable microkernel APIs. And if there is a TG3 fix, you would only update your network drivers. Amazing future. But I read, so you see so many, and this is also everything in one tree, and it's maybe a little bit also the hardware vendors to blame, so many In yesteryears, I fixed some Realtek stuff here for ThinkPads and Dell XPS and stuff, and this year they have here new Realtek, which, fun fact, we could check which exactly are ALC 257, the other one was ALC 200, was it ALC 286 or so? Because with this one I still need, also fun fact coming next to YouTube, with this ThinkPad, the 4-pin TRS microphone input doesn't work. I even specifically tested this. So on all of this, and there you see what are the big companies doing. Maybe people whine about webcams that have a frosh nose angle stuff here, and then I have sometimes conference calls. By the way, fun fact, what day do we have? Okay, tomorrow. The only thing I use is a microphone input. I never have conference calls. It would be totally annoying. Fun fact, just the other week I accidentally clicked on the webcam button in GoToMeeting. The first time, usually the microphone is muted, and then you accidentally click on the webcam stuff and people see you. Anyway, what I wanted to say, so this coming soon, I soon want to try to fix this 4-pin TRS microphone input thing for the ThinkPad stuff here, and I think many new ones are affected, at least the X1 Carbon from last year. There you see what are the big distributions doing. The same what I already previously fixed in previous years, the headphone bass response. I don't know why nobody noticed that the bass was missing on the Realtek 200 whatever, 80 something. Anyway, I really wonder if, I think stable, I read somewhere that some AI or something is picking or proposing candidates, like, I don't know, but which kind of version is stable? Yeah, maybe none, I don't know, email to Git. But if you have any Linux has 2,000 new developers and get 10,000 patches for could take an OS to consume. If you imagine computer could take any OS and consume, could release big update features and logos of adding a new AI to cycle and history here. It's also, yeah, it's no wonder that the cycles are so busy if they randomly keep changing APIs and reword stuff. Anyway, if you have any input to this stuff, I've read this somewhere, maybe on Heise, the German Heise site, or I don't know, I read this a year ago or something. Yeah, if you have any input, really would curious, I could Google here around for a couple of hours. And was this improving with upstream coordination each release, Facebook Unix scaling, source machines make unique and bugs automatically, engineering proposed newsletter, whatever. Here is some end of something, so I have the feeling this can't find switch jump table in RTL Wi-Fi. Oops. Can't find switch jump table. Interesting. Yeah, on Phoronix, so the only problem is, I think, did I stupidly probably used, that is a poor PC. I think I used tempfs, damn it. So I should have known better and not use tempfs. That was a fail. So then, that is always the drawback of tempfs, although maybe I should. Yeah, the problem is now, of course, I have 64 GB. Normally this is unmounted immediately. Maybe I should have an option to not unmount the tempfs, because then now I need to rebuild everything. That is a little bit of a fail. I will so probably not do this live. You see on Phoronix it was mentioned the AMD GPU driver didn't build. Maybe they mentioned they used some 10 master trunk tree stuff that apparently then built. But yeah, so for me it is another one. So probably this is, however, an all modular kernel, right? The T2 default kernel with all things modular, so that you have all the modules always available if you install. Binary kernel. Yeah, some of these warnings here are a little bit annoying. I'll probably try to, although I think a little bit. I'm actually, yeah. Fun fact, I actually took this out. I find this slightly stupid. So I think because I think it had an effect on GCC, this stripping. Actually, right now it's the only. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying that our T2 script injects this automatically if you configure this so for non-debug symbols. Also that all the single objects already do not contain debug symbols. It's a little bit faster. And here's some. Yeah, although these are not from us, so this is from the Linux kernel. This, so yeah, doesn't really. This is why I think I noticed with GCC without -s the binaries became maybe slightly larger or something. But yeah, these options anyway. So the majority of those options here are actually not from us, but this align jumps, loops, constant stuff is from the Linux kconfig stuff. Makes of course the log a little bit unreadable. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, a little bit of a pity that I should have been, yeah, always you want the extra performance and then tempfs and then, yeah, RAM disk, you name it. Anyway, I leave a comment below. I will try to boot this. It makes, you see, it is huge progress, and that was exactly the reason why I once in a lifetime packaged this. As you see, usually so much stuff breaks, it makes no sense for me to waste my time with this release candidate stuff. And so comment in the audience. So not so long ago I had some problem with TP-Link cards on a Debian system, Fedora system, but installing drivers made no difference, and they accidentally broke the kernel. Glad it had time shift. By the way, I don't make series. I'm 16-year-old and kid with passionate about FOSS. Yeah, cool and welcome. Everyone is welcome. 16-year-old or older, younger. We could, by the way, as long, by the way, and if you have any other random question, otherwise we can also call it a day after, actually also already 29 minutes. I wonder, so the most time, so this build 20, yeah, I think the build time approximately, there's a problem, I'm not running this on screen, wait a second. Did I, maybe I didn't rebuild, did I? Which kernel are we even running? This is quite recent, more IDM log package, what was it, Linux? Yeah, so a couple of ones built, and yeah, 11 minutes for, wait a second, 11, but then this is significantly slower, huh? That would mean, if that is true, although we have a little bit of maybe actually, yeah, but no, we have it running array, whatever. Maybe that could mean that sealing LLVM Clang is not even really that much faster, actually. Not amused. But yeah, anyway, I probably don't compile the kernel too much. If this succeeds, I will most likely right now, because previously I have on the data center, I mentioned this, the Musel, so the Clang LLVM only system, I have that running. Couple of live streams, because this was, as usual, quite some process to get all this LLVM runtime stuff like compiler runtime, libs, cxx, and so on, ABI stuff, to get all of those running and compiling and such. Still a little bit packaged in T2, but it needed some manual tweaking for some really stupid single loop reference stuff. But I have this running. I will not tell you which of our servers for security reasons already. Anyway, probably need to up our security, but for a test, one of our servers I VM, of course, but I reused because I couldn't build the kernel, right? So this LLVM Clang Musel system has everything except grub2 and the kernel, which, by the way, fun fact, I also need to check grub2. That is then up next. And yes, so much time testing, fiddling. But so everything Clang, but kernel I used from the other VM. So I just run QEMU KVM, this kernel from the shared kernel repository. If this hopefully compiles, so what I need to do, unfortunately, again, tempfs RAM disk, not the smartest choice, but that's why you obviously are here, watching me fail. I will just disable those kernels, especially this RTL, whatever staging nonsense it was. And yeah, it's certainly most likely, I would say, a compiler bug. This module, well, the same configuration built, so there you have it this is why it's release candidate, or there's always compilers, the code base certainly humongous, monstrous, and there's always some bugs. Also, yeah, the stuff is getting so complex, right? GCC, LLVM, sealing, so complex stuff there. It's always some combination that has some bug. So I certainly will not fix this myself. That would take a day or something, getting familiar with the code base, or even longer. I will just disable those, and especially the staging one. I hope it's not so much more, maybe only the single one. Let's see if I have the same bug like Phoronix, like AMD GPU. Didn't look like that so far, but who knows what happens when this finishes. And then I will restart the VM with this kernel just for testing, and see how long this survives, because the Phoronix test, of course, there can always be some long-term issues. There can even be security issues, right? The compiler, there was recently even a new GCC bug, compiler optimizing something away, also recurring bug in GCC, unfortunately. As usual, when you aktuell, früher, später, no entries found. What the heck? Wait a second. War das nicht? Was this already last month? Here. GCC 9.1 optimizes security check away, and new bugs fixed in. And this is, of course, worst case, right? You have some. Wait a second. Where did this bug disappear now? What happened? Null pointer check removed, and this is a recurring theme, and reported June, modified known to work 8.3, known to fail 10.9.1, last reconfirmed. Does it even, yeah, does it even cherry pick for all the branches? Yeah, and this is of course the worst thing, right? And in a way, C is of course not the very best language for this. And in one way, we had this kind of security stuff, boundary checks optimized away. We had this often in probably 10, if not many more times over the last decades, every other year. And C, obviously not the very greatest language for that, and otherwise it's still a little bit of a surprise to me that after decades of this and people using this for kernels, Linux kernel, BSDs and stuff, that we still have such bugs occurring. And this could be the same stuff, right? You compile this with sealing. This is why I only run this test system in one VM and in one of the not most important VMs, and give this a try and see what kind of stuff. Could even be memory leak, right? Some memory isn't freed, or memory allocation stuff misoptimized or optimized away. So it could have memory leaks, accumulating memory usage. It could have security issues with security stuff optimized away. So yeah, this is why I certainly will try now that this hopefully maybe works. Although, yeah, I wanted to actually, I think I have, fun fact, I think I have the Musel-only system locally installed on the ThinkPad here, that I otherwise run from my portable Road Warrior SSD here, that I shouldn't pull out here as seen recurringly on my video. So I have this system installed here locally. The only thing is I couldn't yet get Qt to compile. I really would like to have OBS here if I make this my test system. So I would like to run a sealing only system here that would then be with Musel-libc instead of glibc, but that again couldn't get Qt to build. That is really annoying because I don't really need Qt too much, but for OBS streaming obviously that would be sort of kind of nice to have. Anyway, can you give me a link to your GitHub profile? I don't do so much stuff on GitHub. I don't measure I don't also need to, you see there's a copyright notice here on my secondary channel with this stupid attempt to make a comedy out of the Apple live stream, so you get copyright striked. I don't, usually I prefer to host my own site. So I have my code there, and which also, yeah, fun fact, is also over HTTPS, but otherwise I have a little bit of stuff, but I only have here non-important, like where people extremely begging me to use GitHub, but whatever. So there is only not that much there. So let's see. Missed the beginning. Are there any benefits of compiling it with sealing? Not really. So the previous live stream, it's mostly the same speed, which is actually already a relatively good thing here, as seen on Phoronix. Sometimes it's actually, I'm not sure. Well, it's already good sign that the speed is mostly the same, right? Although, in my opinion, again, recurrently, I said this already before. Just as regular control flow, if then else, set register, set variable, so not the most to be optimized code. There is one outliner somewhere, as per the other live stream previously also. Maybe it was here once, one was like 5% slower, like maybe this one, yeah, Hackbench. So, but only on Core i9. I like more compact systems, so for that reason, it would take one headache away from me only. Well, one headache away that I would still need to test with, in general, with 42, but like I would still need to have, even if I switch to C-Lang, Clang, LLVM only system for code base, trusted code base and maintenance burden and stuff, I would still probably need to check that regular default GCC stuff built on T2. So in a way, it doesn't really produce less work. And yeah, somehow I have the feeling it's also not so. Phoronix did not have compile times here, but at least from this original look, I would think this secure shell scrolling should hopefully not put too much latency on this. I will see later. I probably add some comments here in the video, because I have the feeling with GCC, the kernel built on this Ryzen in 11 minutes, so all modular, everything inside kernel, and this here already compiles probably over 20 minutes. So yeah, not the most amazing stuff, but again, we need LLVM anyway for Mesa, so yeah. And you are very right, but interesting in the in the visual, very different thinking set for Linux here. What for Linux? Not. Yeah, that's what you're here for. But you also, in my opinion, but you probably see I'm also getting a little bit frustrated, right? 20 years later, doing 20 years Linux, and we still don't have the year of desktop Linux, well, except maybe for myself. But even then, regression. So yeah, this is also, I probably need to make another video about people loving their favorite languages like PHP or .NET, and then people feel triggered when I say PHP is garbage. And what else did people, JavaScript, right? JavaScript is also a little bit what, but there are some reasons, of course. JavaScript is not the worst, but also not the most amazing, and people should not fall in love with their programming languages and feel triggered when I don't love something. But anyway, in any case, people should keep an open mind, and maybe stuff in the IT industry also should be better sorted and less breaking, and I don't know, not randomly changing something. And yeah, you said many optimization warnings. Actually, these are Python 3. Yeah, you want to trigger me, right? As usual, when we are mostly done with the stream, although we are actually waiting for this result here, but probably we still achieve the failure here. You say many optimization warnings. Actually, these are not many. These are only the same, and these are only mostly unimportant. So what this f-aligned jumps, loops and constants is doing, merge constants. So merge constants, of course, only means if you have constants like a string, like foobar, and like other constants like 1 and whatever magic constants there, to merge them, as the name says, and alignments for jumps and loops. Actually, I'm surprised they have here alignment 1. I only know this from Transmeta, from back in the day, Transmeta Crusoe and Efficient, that wonder a little bit, because usually other regular, more normal x86 CPUs prefer an alignment of 4, although maybe alignment jumps, loops. Yeah, I really wonder what exactly we could actually check this, what exactly this should be doing. because again, in previous times, align loop, what is it doing? Align loop, yeah, also best with a typo. OS disables the following optimization flags align loops. Or align terms are applicable and are greater than this value. Align labels, what their value are used instead. Align all branches targets to power of 2 boundaries, skipping up to n bytes like f-line functions. Yeah, exactly what I expected. I really wonder why they have 1 here. This doesn't make the most sense to me. As far as I know, Intel and AMD and VR and such CPUs most likely prefer 4 or something of that sort. But whatever. So these are only extremely minor options, most likely. It's not like something huge like vectorized loops or whatever. These are only like, yeah, whatever. And in my opinion, again, this setting doesn't even make the most sense. Although maybe it is setting this because I have size optimization. So yeah, maybe not the most amazing. But this is a little bit funny. Because I usually size optimize my kernel, but there you see all the difference. And Intel having their optimized clear Linux, where whatever optimizations you do. By the way, if you want to have a fun project, so first of all, you're totally welcome, right? If you want to help, you can update some GNOME or KDE packages, because I'm certainly too lazy for that. And anyway, maybe you want to use them more than myself. And then another fun project, a really fun project, like certainly an amazing project, would be if you take a look on the Intel Clear Linux source tree and factor out all the optimizations, whatever fancy optimizations they apply there, and if they have some nice patches to FFmpeg or OpenSSL or whatever amazing patches they might have, to send them my way and import them in T2 for even greater performance, certainly. So yeah, actually with size optimizations, I was considering other things, and maybe that is why this is occurring. Actually, so maybe the kernel then runs slightly faster without this stupid stuff being ignored. So yeah, this is actually not really what I was thinking when I have chosen size optimization. But anyway, yeah, I hope you learned something. I think we covered most of this stuff. And another, what do you mean with another? Ever know for scripting, Python 3, I think it's the best language ever to know for scripting. Yeah, I'm personally not the greatest Python fan. I'm a huge Lua fan for minimalistic simplicity. You should make a video on creating portfolio projects for system programming. What do you mean with portfolio projects for system programming? Comments in the audience. Do we have here some build result? Yeah, actually we waited now so long that actually we could also wait a little bit longer. I should have run this in screen, so unfortunately I haven't here. But we should probably come. How long is the stream? If this stream is approaching 45 minutes, yeah, probably approaching. Because we already stupidly, as usual as we are here, I built this in tempfs, and of course this failed, and now it failed. But this time without tempfs. So eval make opt. And yeah, how long did this take? This probably for sure was at least 15 minutes. So I have the feeling. And Velar number 1, maybe please specify what exactly you mean by that. Why is yeah, actually it could be that this parallel make stuff is now building other stuff. As usual, a little bit annoying. Or actually, let's maybe just build the VM Linux first. Let's see if that links. Certainly we don't need to spend any time. Slightly wonder, is it, could be this parallel make stuff that it's still, wonder slightly that it's still rebuilding so much, but yeah, whatever. Let's see, attached to Python 3 because I'm the first language, but I don't love it. So we are linking mod post system map. So the kernel we linked, amazing stuff. Then modules that will So yeah, there we have it. That really builds now. Unsurprisingly, so this was just again recurringly as per the previous live stream with our fight with LLVM Clang. That was just a stupid chat option that, in my opinion, most likely you would want to use. By the way, this probably does include parallel, J16 modules. So then just some modules fail. It's of course a little pity that with tempfs, there was some warning in red. GNU-JIT something. Yeah, Python certainly better than many others. Python, Ruby, certainly they're better than whatever. PHP certainly historically pure garbage, security-wise and everything else-wise. Of course, as usual, they modernize it for a decade, but in my opinion, PHP was already so crappy, you should probably not have spent there any time on, especially so many. But yeah, so many choice, right? Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby, and although Python is super popular, I just read the other day. It's very popular on the top 10 of language choices there. Yeah, normally could have continued with some other work now, waiting for this. Usually I could just continue with something just when we live stream, then don't want to log into the data center and type my password here unnecessarily and fun stuff like that. But yeah, certainly I'm pretty sure this is slower. Clang. So much too. And fun fact, Apple or whoever removed this from the... It's also really hilarious, right? Although we certainly need two good compilers. Oh, this is, by the way, something for another live stream. Where is my other Firefox? What did I use? No, this distracted me. All right, the Clang performance faster, because this was a really long time ago where they had benchmarks on their website, because they totally removed them, right? This is also hilarious. So in the meantime, it's the same speed. Clang website or something. Clang LVM here somewhere. Previously they had here fancy diagrams, and they removed them all. Current status, builds, performance critical. Yeah, it's nothing left here. They had here fancy graphs. So yeah, after a decade of adding features, it's now reached the maybe even slower than GCC. So yeah, it's of course. So historically, it had the property attached to its advertisement slogan of being high performance, and yeah, nothing left of this anymore. Maybe the code base is more flexible, and something certainly it's MIT or something what companies like AMD and Intel love, and Apple certainly. But yeah. Yeah, you see, really, wait a second, this without error, why did it error out then before? We have the error here in error. Yeah, even the this is what it's okay, the CPU jitter, random number generator must be, but this is something else. I thought some, okay, this I saw scrolling through earlier. Must be compiled without optimization, see documentation. We have actually, and this is also really fun code, right? I slightly wonder why this is compiled now though. I thought previously, now this is the only error left, but this is funny. I'm pretty sure previously we had RTL whatsoever and staging failing. So for this jitter stuff, I thought we use our wrapper, because usually, of course, our compiler wrapper, not to rely on make files and whatsoever, it's automatically injecting this. So yeah, var append, so if crypto jitter loop, Somehow this doesn't work then for whatsoever reason, because I have here conditional if this is included in the KCC wrapper append. Maybe the KCC wrapper append stuff does somehow not work with ceiling. Let's see. And then KCC wrapper debug. Something doesn't work there in our... Yeah, this is how it should look like. Ah, wait a second. Do we have this maybe on KCC, huh? Ah, KCC. That is slightly stupid. Okay. Bug at us. Yeah, but there you see how good it is for testing with alternative compilers. How do I fix this now? Actually, this is funny. This would mean that the whole build was not compiler wrapped. Which compiler did it even use? It was using Clang. This means... Maybe this is also a little bit of a hidden bug. Maybe this would work if you make a whole build, but just because we switched on runtime. When are the wrappers built? Because KCC is probably a symlink in... Yeah, it's a symlink to KCC to GCC. Okay, but for GCC, no, we don't really need this. No, we need this for GC. Wait a second. All right, this is really tricky. Yeah, this is a little bit buggy. There you see some esoteric options, as so often in IT, even at us. Yeah, this was only ever tested with GCC, obviously. And anyway, but this means this is also a little bit of a kernel bug, because then we are not influencing the build, apparently, and we are not appending here anything. Anyway, a little bit of a kernel bug, I would say. Was this modules or... No, it was modules. Jitter bug in... Maybe we just compile. Do other people maybe not compile with this thing? Was it so web? I think it was. It's also each project, recurring theme here, right? Each project using, but it was verbose capital V equals 1. Let's see, but yeah, it's a little bit much. It's also, yeah, so much why is all this build stuff so slow? Because yeah, so much internal stuff being generated. Ketting drivers, damn it, it's a little bit much here though for, can't make that up. Log. Yeah, I need to, but anyway, this is twofold, this bug. One real bug and one, like, I wonder a little bit if run number generator, do other people not build with that, or, So here is crypto. It actually, fun fact, has O0 in there. Why does it not? Maybe this is like a bug with GCC, where that's not a bug with ceiling, that it can't disable optimizations enough. Jitter entropy. Anyway, but so then even fixing this in T2 wouldn't make this work, I guess, because we had already optimization disabled. So yeah, maybe you can't build that then with that, with Clang for that. Yeah, anyway, we learned some stuff, we got some stuff working, we found some new bugs as usual, always some bugs to do. And could be the OS. I try to remember what do we have. Don't recall when the fix was though. Also jitter entropy happens to me too. The Graver are using Clang or GCC. And M68K. Yeah. So actually, so as you see, this is wrapped with in T2. This is wrapped as seen, just that this wrapping and generic compiler flag substitution stuff doesn't currently work with sealing. And dive. Yes, we don't, it seems. No, blah, May 16. And 11's something. Because kbeaten something, whatever. Mine, what, GCC, normal Linux. Yeah, so with GCC this should not work as seen. So this usually doesn't occur to me. Wait a second, did I not disable this? Did this come? Oops. Is this forced on? Can't you disable this or what? I thought I saved this. Maybe it's turning on again. If it's somehow mandatory. Anyway, here some, well, at least huge progress. I will probably next test boot this on a VM, not live on YouTube, because I need to type my password a couple of times and fun stuff like that. And yeah, somehow this is turning on again. Let's see, kconfig of jitter. What, doesn't have a kconfig? No, not kconfig. There apparently that is, but config jitter. Here's why did I not see this earlier? Did I not open this file a second ago? So here, this hard selects this dr running something stuff here. Hard selects this, so that is funny. Why do others not have this? It clearly has a optimized zero thing in there, so we, by the way, can like crypto, jitter, entropy, probably like that, because then we don't have so much stuff scrolling by. And then we can, but even then, just to see what this is building, I have the feeling this will scroll quite some. Yeah, it's a little bit hilarious, the kernel build stuff. A little bit excessive in my opinion, don't you say? This is just all the internal makefile stuff triggered for building one module. Fun stuff, right? Anyway, it was in the log jitter. It was here, Clang, and let's see, O-O. Here it is OS and O0. I only wonder, can we copy this? And okay, this works. You see the O0 is last. Damn, is this long? Can we? Can't jump here. At least in this, in case if you know, because getting it to the OS to delete this. Yeah, also always a fun bugs, right? You try your state-of-the-art stuff and then you always wonder, does it work for other people? Is it here the only one failing for that? I wonder. So usually in GCC, of course, the last option takes precedence. I have the feeling just with deleting this, it will also not work here. Module. So somehow you can't optimize this. maybe not too many other hits here though. And probably the only other choice then is to really disable the most of the options. Ah, damn it. Hello, can we also, this is native, Control K. Using ceiling, running unknown, internal compiler error. Build without sanitizer. Somehow I don't really have so much luck that others pasted something here of that sort. So yeah, you see everything builds except jitter entropy right now. Anyway, I will spend a little bit more time with this, whatever is here up with that. Let's see a full guide on how you can build T2 from source and make some small good image for x86 with Mesa. Yeah, basically, well, there is a handbook on some introduction. Well, small is like minimum. The problem with like really small is that nowadays you have hundreds of packages, so maybe we can make another video. Otherwise, there is some documentation and maybe even quick steps, quick build, something there on T2 org documentation stuff. And let's see, maybe ceiling always defines optimize. Crypto jitter entropy C. Let's see. Touch test C ceiling 0 test C compile DME opt. Yeah, this is optimize size. So with -O you optimize size. What the heck? Optimize size. S-trace E X. So this is executing, actually it is running through the command wrapper, interestingly. Okay, then maybe it is, oh you see, wait a second. This is T2's fault, but somehow that is interesting. So somehow our stuff is intelligent enough to wrap ceiling, but it's not using the compiler wrapper then. That is interesting. That explains why other people don't have this issue. So then let's try debug ceiling. Then probably that triggers. Oh yeah, this triggers that. Interesting. Yeah, then the usual. Okay, then actually we are, except wasting 10 minutes talking with ourselves here. Then the only issue is fixing T2. Well, only that also takes some 30 minutes for sure with test, trial and error. Ceiling Linux. Thanks for this point though. Maybe I would have otherwise, without the YouTube comment, given up for today because boring. That was jitter. Yeah, this one. So you see KCC wrapper. And let's CD there, back into there and there and there. Run this, but with CC wrapper, or GCC, whatever. And let's try that again with probably that. Thanks for that pointer, and then we probably really can test boot soon. And I'm starting to like watching you struggling with healing. Yeah, that is what. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing, liking, and subscribing. We have great plans. Yeah, so then it fully builds, and also unlike the, so you see, except this bug with T2 and oh, oops, some subdiff something, and oh, AMD GPU. Hey, the same bug as Phoronix. Amazing stuff. At least we don't need AMD GPU. So this bug apparently, according to Phoronix, fixed in upstream ceiling. Let's try that again. And at least we don't need AMD GPU on, well, on this Ryzen we would need it, but not on the data center that is running GPU-less. But yeah, this other kind of stuff. But a similar issue I have actually with, what was that? GCC on something. So many issues. Yeah, if you like watching me struggling and learn a bunch of stuff, then don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, because we have a lot of such stuff coming. PowerPC stuff, well, also testing, release season, MIPS, Hewlett-Packard, HPPA, Spark, ARM, PowerPC, whatever. Maybe even Intenium, if I stop at DTAR there and in his Intenium monster. And yeah, but somehow it's really not the most fast, right? I also wonder, is it rebuilding here a bunch of stuff? Or yeah, certainly we will see when we build without the excessive logging to the terminal. Not sure how much latency this causes here over secure shell across of Europe. Should not be too much, but whatever. And as usual, just when we want to stop the stream again, we have the most viewers. For those who are new, just tuned in, we building here the Linux kernel with ceiling. Finally, that works. As usual, a couple of bugs to fix, and we run into the same AMD GPU regression as Phoronix. Can confirm that. I have also some T2 bug to fix. At least we also had some coffee. Yeah, somehow the speed, this is 64 gigabyte Ryzen 16 thread, 8 core 16 threads, so yeah, somehow. Anyway, we make then progress. Next is then redoing the full Musel ceiling system. For that, because of the runtime, we have the compiler RT, and the startup stuff is not the most amazing integrated upstream, so I had to do there some random fiddling for hours at night. It's not 100% fully packaged in T2 because too much random garbage. But yeah, that would be next among all the release season testing. But yeah, the problem is it probably, if you, it's a little bit between not too many people want to watch this, and let me just change the camera anyway, probably slightly better. Yeah, most of the stuff is just probably boring, although some new people find this channel. Damn, does it take long? Are you completely kidding me? Monolithic kernels, also modular, you name it. And hey, so yeah, then I can confirm the only issue is AMD GPU modules install and install that. The only thing is, yeah, I only do this now, of course, is I need to fix the real bug, and the only issue now is normally CP system map. Usually I prefer not to do this manually, which kernel even was. These are 14, latest and greatest, you name it. And what else do we need? VM Linux to boot 14. Again, usually you don't do this manually. Was the other in Arch? Long time I've done this manually. Is that image maybe here, or where is it now? Image. second. Ah, we didn't do this, right? Yeah, that is why I don't do this manually. I only do this now because I don't want to wait another 30 minutes to rebuild all of this. I just want to copy this to the data center and run it in QEMU KVM. There we go. Also this is VM, it's 15, 14. Init RD, again, usually I never do this manually, but whatever. And we can, for a fun fact, take a look. How large is the kernel? Of course, now it's scrolling away. Do we have more comments in the audience? Hey, the most people watching, amazing stuff. Well, you can contact me with the YouTube comments or the supplied email address there. Looking forward to hearing what you want to contact me for. So yeah, the kernel is actually similar size, just a little tiny bit larger apparently, but yeah, maybe that is, yeah, maybe actually this is a function alignment. So, but maybe this means for size optimization, it could potentially be just tiny bit faster though, because this alignment stuff is random garbage. Anyway, yeah, then I have to fix this. I will copy this now to the data center off camera. If you have improvements, I was actually more thinking the problem is, you see, most of the stuff takes quite some time and then the result is unknown. Like last night took, well, also sort of longer than I wanted. The ceiling stuff also, I would have loved to have this already 2 months ago or months ago working. It's also ridiculous that the shared library stuff fails this ceiling stuff. And we can, by the way, I think I have QEMU on here, right? Maybe we test boot this here with QEMU system. x86, no graphics. What would this be? I'm not doing, but probably this could have this defaulting to serial, right? Boot VM, Linux 14. Is it append console equals dys0 maybe? Theoretically also init rd. Invalid option, no graphic. Let's see, spectrum mitigation, RAM disk, interfile, reading compressed data. Yeah, that is amazing behavior of the Linux kernel. Okay, no, we can't control CZ apparently. So then, yeah, that's it for today. Let's see what it does when we copy it to the data center. And if you want me to do Phoronix-like performance, although I'm not so entirely most interested in that, because as you see from the Phoronix benchmarks, the performance is mostly the same. Also, maybe it would be interesting if this ignored alignment improves size-optimized kernels. But if you have any suggestions how to make better content here that is more pleasant to watch or more interesting, or any other stuff, leave it in the comments below. If you want me to benchmark all this stuff for hours, which would be as boring as this stuff, leave me in the comments as well. 3.6 something works for me. What you're saying? Welcome Victor, I mean Xbox, and amazing stuff. I guess your channel. Board section, okay, something. Love image only. What? Only you should PPE core, not P3. What? I don't understand. You need to type without much typos or less typos. Anyway, that's it for today. PPEs. Works crucially work a lot better than SSL when that happens. Yeah, I should have it in screen, but I haven't today. I will just log in Yeah, it's actually, wait a second, fun fact, I can log in off camera because, let's do that again. I think this is just out of memory. Let's connect there, and then let's log in there, and then let's move this terminal over like that and kill our QEMU system x86 something. I think I don't have other VMs like that. And then probably this is just memory, which, by the way, I should also, yeah, okay, whatever. Memory was either, was it a capital or what, which was also amazing. Yeah, this is machine. Okay, then that. Let's see if we get more. This was probably just out of memory, but it's also, of course, not cool. It's a kernel infinite loops there on that. Yeah, this boot so far, of course, I haven't supplied in root, so this is expected. Probably this looks working, at least so far. Of course, virtual CPU, you name it. And yeah, by the way, fun fact, proc version. So that is Clang, yeah, Clang, there you have it, 900 text release, something fun stuff. Only live here, the fun stuff on my channel. Hey, 0.frames, thanks to IPv6 across Europe. I only hope YouTube is with my stupid copyright conflict shit there on the second more live channel. I hope they don't really kill this channel completely for good. It's the other channel, but you never know what this big AAA Fortune 500 companies decide there when you dispute some copyright fair use stuff there for no good reasons. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something, and if the channel ever disappears, then watch out where we reappear, maybe on float plane or whatever. See you soon. Something's working. I copy to the data center and see how often it fails and crashes in real life. Yeah, so I will have fun international traveling with new nicknames. Thanks for that. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something.